Hello, I'm Benjamin Oporias, and this is a video walkthrough of a backend, or let's say an API, which is a URL Shortener API. So I'm going to walk through the video and the files we have here. So first off, we start with the folders we have here. We have a controller, a database, which is a DB. We have our model here. We have routes as well. Now we go into the package JSON, and we can see the packages we used in this API. So we use Fast API. So we use Fastify. We use uh, Fastify Force. We use Fastify MongoDB. We are using Base.js. We are using .env. We are using Fastify. We are using Mongoose. And we are using Nano ID. So let's go to our first, which is the controller. And in here, this is where we are having the logic of whatever the route is doing. So say you are trying to get a URL or all the URL is being created. This is where the functionalities are actually are. So we'll first start with the first line here, which you can see has some comments and quite a lot of code here, which might make the video very long if I try to walk through every part of it. But I think I'm going to walk through this part since it covers most of the major things we are trying to do. So here we are with the first line here, we are extending our relative time, which is being done using the days years. So we need this so that when we want to specifically get a URL in a specific time frame, we are able to do that. So the next one is generate unique code. And in here, we'll be using the nano ID because we don't want duplications, or we don't want the same URL being created multiple times with the same ID. So we want to generate a specific ID for each URL, regardless of if it's the same URL you are trying to recreate a short version for it. So you can see some exceptions being shown here, some errors in case we are unable to generate a unique ID. That is what you are doing here. And here we'll be using recursion. That is what you see. So an attempt which is greater than five, we would have to throw an error because when we try to create the ID, and it's not being able to be created for that long, we would have to tell the user that hey, we couldn't create that ID or failed to do so. So that is it for that part, which is the generating a unique code. And if we pass that step, which is the recursion, then you can call nano ID, and then you can await and refine specifically that particular URL, and then you can add the ID to it. And here we have a controller for this actually houses all our functionalities for the creating a URL and the etc. Which first we have sorting. So here this is receiving our short form of the URL, and then this is where we actually we receive the long form of our URL, and this is where we build the short form of it. And then we have a comment as well to tell specifically what each line is doing. And then you can see here, this is where we also use our MongoDB. In here, we are saving the newly created URL into our database with the original one, which is the one the user inputted. Secondly, the short code, which we are going to talk about later, and then the short URL, and then we are going to be displaying it in down here as well. So when we look down here, you can see that it says listed for URLs, meaning when we hit this route, we are expected to receive all the URLs in our database. And the current URLs we have are four, so it says listed for URLs. And this is just demonstrating displaying data to the console or to the user. But then we are going to be doing same with a Rust test file. We are going to be testing with a Rust, and we are going to be doing that with HTTP5. So we come down here and we have another one, right? That is redirect. So this is where this code is going to make sense, this short code, because we would want to get redirections, say, when we store the shorter version of the long URL and we visit that shorter version, we have to get a redirect. Yeah, so in our testing, which we are going to be doing in the client HTTP REST client, we are going to be testing this endpoint to see its functionality. So in that client REST application, which could be posted on any version of the site, you won't be able to redirect a URL from that platform onto the web. But then there is a way we can do that without getting the redirection, but then we want to see what it actually does. So we want to say, for instance, anytime a user hits this endpoint, we want to add one to the to a field saved in our database that counts how many times the user tries to, you know, um, tries to connect or tries to run that endpoint. So we'll do that with this code and we use it to test if that functionality is actually working. So we are going to hit the code, that endpoint multiple times, and we are going to see our URL count counting. And in our last one here, we have a get start. Then this is where we can also get start, where we can get the status of the URL, we can get the numbers, the number of people that have clicked it, so it will count the numbers. And here we are using quite a lot. We are trying to use DJS to format our date, and we are using a map and that reduce here, which are part of the requirements needed for this API or project. And lastly, we are returning all of this at the end. And we have other CO2 to list all to get all shopping. And yeah, I think that's it. And this one has self-explanation. We have a bit of comment here, so you can look through that as well. Then we would go into our models and look at how it looks like. So here we are having our original URL, short code, short URL, click log, and created a guide for our models with some comments here to define or for anybody seeing something like this for the first time, you can look through the comments and get a little bit of understanding. And this looks like, let's say, it looks like an object in normal JS with one or two scans of properties. So that's it. That's it for the model. And then we have our routes here, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is five values slash shopping slash URLs slash code slash forest slash stat slash code, and then the index slash as well. And then we have slash our code, which is the final one. So I'm going to start testing out this whole thing. So you can see it's already running. I'll close this and then run it again. So the test running it, you can look through our packages on and you can see how we are running this by using the npm run this, which is which is going to run this without closing it anytime we make any changes to our code using the node mon. And it's also added to our dependencies to the node mon. Okay, so I'll run this and then we go straight into the HTTP we are going to be using to test this. So let me go into our route and then sorry. So we'll first start with the shorten. So I'll get a URL and then we can try to shorten that. So in here we can remove this and paste our new yes in there, which is our typing text, and this will be a post to our shorten. And now we have our short URL here, and it comes with a short code and the original one is down here. So this is the original one. So now let's go and see the next route. So we have a URL. So we want to get all the URLs. So we want to get all the URLs, and the one we just saved has a short code of this Y U at the end. So we are going to keep note of that. So I think it's like that. Okay, so now we have our URLs here. Okay, and I think this is the one we just saved. Yes. So and you can see from here that the clicks are zero because we've not visited that URL, the newly created shortened form of this. We've not visited it. So we'll come down here. Let's continue with our route, and we have this slash code slash status slash code. So we are going to test this out here as well. And if I get um, and the code it's looking for is this short code. Let's run and see. Yeah. Okay, so it says route not found because we are using double slashes here. Potentially, yes, we have our. So this is where you can see the analysis. You can see the total clicks, last 7 days, and then click by days. So the moment I click the link, we are expected to see this counting and starting to store our analytics and stuff like that. So I'll go back into the URL. I'll go back into our code and we look at the next route. So we have the slash route, which is obviously going to be doing the same thing as the slash, sorry, the indexing to get the index route to get all the routes. But then we previously tested URLs, which is this, and it did the same thing. So we are going to skip this and then we are going to test the last match. But I want us to look at something down here. We can see that we are displaying every changes that's going on. So here we return three route URLs, and then we also look at the statistics for this particular route. So now let's do the slash code, and then I think that is going to be what we are going to be using for the redirection. So here we are going to remove all of this, and I need this code. Okay, and now it says found 302 because it can't give us a redirection, but then when we go back into our console, you see that redirected. We have a redirect here that says this particular code has been clicked once. So let's try it again multiple times. One, two, three. Okay, and we have it here. One, two, three, four, and it's equally being updated in our database as well. So I'll show you my database. Uh, okay, so specifically, let's go down here. Sorry, let me refresh. Okay, so we just refresh them. Okay, so this is what we just did. Our typing typing.com student test here. And you can see the four arrows here. Those arrows containing four objects. And that object is each click. So each click has an ID and it keeps the specific time that click was made. So this is how we are able to use the URL to display that kind of JSON, which has the time, 7 days, and stuff like that. And you can see our previously saved ones as well here. This one having one click, one object, and also keeping the timestamp as well. So that is it for this walkthrough. That's it for this walkthrough. So if in case this was hosted would have had the URLs be more short than we have here. You can see that from this we are having a localhost dot 3000 slash then the code. Initially will be something smaller in the middle here because we are going to host it. But then for this, I decided not to make everything short. So that is it for this code. And there's a README as well in here that has the walkthrough of how everything goes, has useful links to where I found the resources to make this like Fastify, Mongoose, Nano ID, Base.js, and future works as well. Extension of this particular URL shortener works. Probably add account and stuff like that. And then we have a useful website as well. And then tools used in making this as well. So that is it for this. Thanks.